Hello, hello. Welcome to the Drupal 7 End of Life podcast. I'm Mark Dorison and I have Chris Free here with me today.
Hey everyone.
But more importantly, we are joined by a special guest, Klaus Purer. And Klaus is joining us to talk about the unofficial Drupal 7 security team proposal that is currently being discussed and constructively debated in the Drupal issue queue, and now very recently moved to GitLab. Klaus, thanks for joining us.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So,
I want to make sure we get your name right. Did we pronounce your last name right?
Not quite, so it's Klaus Purer. Kurz mal kein U, Purer. But good attempt.
Yeah.
I appreciate the correction. We want to get it right, and we'll do our best. But Klaus is Klausy on Drupal.org, so many people may recognize his Drupal.org username from the issue queues, and has interacted with so many people over, decade plus, 15 years in the Drupal community. Is that about right, Klaus?
Yes, I got started in Drupal 2007, something like that. Yeah.
Right on. I think I might have you beaten by like a year or two or something like that.
Not bad.
Not bad. I really
I think
didn't.
it's a great generation from that years for sure.
Yeah.
At least in our own opinion.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mentioned pre-show that it was some 10 years ago that I think you and I had our first interaction on Drupal.org, which was when I was attempting to get my first contrib module approved, a nifty little module that tacked onto web form. It was called web form hints. And basically it just stuck in, it made like an HTML5 sort of shim for placeholders. So you could get placeholders on web forms very easily, which of course HTML5 and later web form itself started doing. So my module was not, didn't need to stick around. But you helped me through that. So it was cool to like do all the digging and triaging to find that on Drupal.org, which took me longer than it should have last night. And it was like, wow, that was 10 years ago. And of course you were so nice and helpful and helped me get unstuck. So
yeah,
I thought that was worth it.
Did I find any security issues though?
Yes.
Were you lucky?
Yes.
I did. Great.
We'll link it in the show notes. It's a blast from the past, 10 plus years ago.
I see.
So that's a great way to tie it to what we're talking about today, which is security issues for Drupal 7. As we all know, and our listeners most likely know, Drupal 7's end of life has been extended to January 2025. We sit here now at the end of 2023 preparing for that moment, and with a lot of discussion and work to figure out how we can help people that are still on Drupal 7, whether one site or many sites. And so, Klaus, tell us about this proposal that I saw recently in the core ideas queue and what you have in mind.
So the issue is that Drupal 7 contrib modules are getting unsupported already. If you remember a couple of months past, I think you made an episode about this. There was this call to adopt modules. And if people wouldn't do that and the modules get unsupported, they cannot be supported again. And that kind of was the final straw for me to say, okay, we need to put something in action that we kind of keep the modules that I'm running with my clients, keep that in a supported, well-known state. I want to see on the update status of my Drupal 7 sites if all modules are supported and in a well-known security state. And that is not possible anymore with these unsupported modules, because the position of the Drupal security team is once a module has been unsupported, you cannot support it again, to kind of prevent going back and forth with switching maintainers of Drupal 7. And it can be hard to track them down. So they don't want to spend more time on that.
So the Drupal security team, the official Drupal security team, they're kind of in the process. This is part of that process of winding down support for Drupal 7. So currently contrib modules still supported, but if for whatever reason they become unsupported, we're not going back and forth is what we're saying. And they have understandable reasons for that. That's a different discussion. Some people think that's the right thing. Some people don't, but that's the state of play. We, believe that all those decisions are being made with good intentions for themselves and for the community. So, but what you're proposing is a way to um, provide a level of support. Maybe you could talk about like how it's going to, at least as far as you're thinking so far in your proposal, how it's going to differ from the current support that these modules get from the official Drupal security team.
We would try to attempt to do something different, although very much more bare bones. So we kind of established now this group on GitLab, the D7 security group. Currently, it's just me, and I'm in contact with a couple of other people that would like to help out on this initiative. So what happens, we are currently playing this on the Devil module, which is like the development module for Drupal, which has been unsupported for Drupal 7. So what we are currently doing, we forked the Drupal 7 branch into GitLab, publishing a release there, and then replacing the update XML information also on GitLab. And then all Drupal 7 site owners that want to get updates, like the status in what state is the Devil module, they have to install a small client module, which is called D7 Security Client. And that module will, for a selected list of modules, currently it's just the Devil module, it will not call home to Drupal.org to get update status information. Is there a new release? It will call to our GitLab instance where the update XML is prepared. And there it says, okay, there's a new 1.8 release now published, and you should install that. And now the Devil module is now green, supported on your reports page in your Drupal 7 installation. So this is the first prototype. And if we can replicate this for other modules, then I think this would already be a success to kind of keep the modules that we are interested in going for some time.
Yeah, if I could try to summarize for the layperson, I think you did a pretty good job there, but I want to make sure I've got it right. So Drupal 7 support is ending, obviously, hence this podcast. And what you're proposing is sort of a bridge to continue unofficially, emphasis on unofficial, support for some important Drupal 7 modules in a way that is, for all intents and purposes, pretty seamless for the Drupal 7 end user or the person who's maintaining a Drupal 7 site into 2024 and perhaps beyond 2025. And the way that that's accomplished is by having a separate repository that holds supported D7 extended support modules. In this case, it's only Devel that's been kept, that you've got it just started, but hopefully many more. And because Drupal 7 is so pluggable, you are able to plug into the existing update system and seamlessly continue to provide updates for modules that are now marked as unsupported on Drupal.org. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate. And I can say it was so much fun. This is why I like Drupal. I could just look up what is the update module doing. And the people that wrote that code, they even made this mechanism possible with an alter hook there so that I could do this pointing at the different server. It's great. Yeah, this is like the spirit of Drupal, where you can take this great piece of software and extend it in your way to your needs, and then even serve the community with that.
And that is very cool. When we talk about, hosting that that branch or that version of the module in this new GitLab repository, now we're only talking about the Drupal 7 branch. So in this case, like Devel obviously is continued to be supported on modern Drupal and Drupal 10. So now in this example, the modern Drupal branches will continue on Drupal.org and Drupal's GitLab instance. But then for the Drupal 7, does it then become the canonical quote unquote repository of the Drupal 7 version of the module in the GitLab.com D7 security workspace?
Yes, for all the supported modules, I would say that is then the new home. Like for the Devil module, it has been abandoned on Drupal.org, the 7 branch. So we kind of see that the D7 security home as the new canonical place where to find it. Yes.
And another way to put this would be like, this is a way that someone is, you're organizing this effort, but I get the impression you're not necessarily volunteering to be the maintainer of all of these versions of the modules. you're kind of saying if someone is willing to put their hand up and say, I want to support this D7 module, then, you can join this workspace and have those permissions to maintain it there. As opposed, this would have happened on Drupal.org in the past if we weren't in this moment in time where Drupal 7 is on its way to unsupported status. Is that accurate?
Exactly. And that is also what I tried to do. So currently there's a security issue in progress for one module that one of my client uses. And it got unsupported by the maintainers. So I was stepping up as a maintainer for Drupal 7, talk to the security team, hey, can we make it supported again? So that is currently still in discussion if it will be supported again. But of course, as you know, the official policy is they will not support the Drupal 7 module again. So I'm fine with how this security issue goes either way. So either the module is supported on Drupal.org, then I'm happy. But I can also take it over in this GitLab D7 security group, then it's also fine. So I'm trying really a way. I don't want to step on the toes of the Drupal security team. I think that is very, very important from my mentality where I'm coming from. I want to work with those people and not against them. So I would do whatever is easier for them. If we can leverage Drupal.org infrastructure for this last year of Drupal 7 support, let's do it. If not, we can also supplement this somewhere else so that there is like a seamless way of keeping the Drupal security support up. And what is also important to understand is I'm doing this work anyway, right? I need to keep my client secure. So I am deploying that security fix and I would like to share it with the community. I need a place where to publish my stuff. I need a place to publish where I need to put that fix. And now I can do this in a way that it's actually easily usable by other Drupal 7 maintainers and site owners to get update information if there's a new release.
Also feels like the spirit of Drupal. I love that.
Yeah.
What has the reaction been from, have you heard from members of the security team about this proposal? Are they generally supportive of this idea and initiative?
I was in contact with them. So currently I think they're very neutral. I didn't get heavy pushback. So I was expecting maybe they would be really pissed or something. They could be not amused at being about this. They want to make a clear cut ending of Drupal 7 and people should really upgrade. So this is kind of might be against their efforts. But so far the response has been very neutral. So I think everybody's currently thinking about how to deal with this proposal and what would be best.
I mean, from my perspective, it feels like it's the best of both worlds. The Drupal.org team gets to sort of break away and focus on modern Drupal, as we've called it here in this podcast, and officially state that they are no longer supporting Drupal 7 modules and core and those types of things. And in the spirit of open source, folks like you can step up and continue to carry the torch. I think for some users, it will be confusing for some site owners, or I can just imagine some of our clients being like, you've been telling us for years that D7 support was ending, and now there's all these things that are happening, like retrofit, and now you're unofficial D7 security team. What does this mean? Have you been disingenuous? And it's in fact, it's the opposite. It's that the community is rallying and seeing, as you are, seeing a gap in support and a looming deadline and the numbers of Drupal 7 sites not coming down as quickly maybe as everyone would have hoped. So while I think it's going to be something that I have to explain in sales calls and to our existing clients, I think it's worthy, worthy investment, and it's pretty admirable that you're leading the charge. I'll also say, after reading your entire blog post and the entire issue thread, no good deed goes unpunished, does it?
For sure. So there is also some other camp in the Drupal community who wants to kind of make Drupal 7 live on longer and kind of like keep it supported, keep it even being promoted. But that's not my intention. So I cannot agree on that.
Yeah.
That's also why I wrote down kind of a value statement in this Drupal 7 security group, which is very important that people agree with me on that. How we're going to handle this group.
You You should cover those here. I think it'd be worthy to say them. I thought
Yeah.
you were pretty eloquent and very clear about what this project does, what it is, and what it isn't. So why don't you share with the audience what those
Yeah,
are?
so there are a couple of points. Like, for example, at Drupal 7, we accept that it is legacy software. So we don't start new projects in it. We use it to keep our clients maintained. This also means that we don't brand anything that we do as a Drupal classic fork or a Drupal never ending or Drupal unlimited fork or something. We don't want to do that, right? We want to be an extension to the Drupal community and not start some completely new project here. If people want to do that, they can go to Backdrop. I think Backdrop is almost a drop-in replacement for Drupal 7, not quite. So that's why me and my clients, we are also evaluating it from time to time if it makes sense, but it's not always a fit. Or people upgrade to Drupal 10. I think there's a big push in the community now to support them commercially from the community with initiatives. Get your upgrade done, and that's how we want to see it. We also, one value of the group is also we want to make it a win-win with the Drupal security team, with the association, so that everybody gets a benefit out of this. The people that run Drupal 7 sites, the security team should be unburdened, basically, that they can push the Drupal 7 work away to a group of volunteers or a group of interested people that want to work on it. I think that were the basic values. Yeah.
Klaus, you mentioned Backdrop, and I'm curious, where you think this might be a good fit. This proposal might be a good fit where Backdrop isn't, or do you see this more as like a stepping stone in between, where we are now and like a site ending up on Backdrop? Maybe they, someone who runs a site intends to move to Backdrop, but is not there yet. And this would provide a bridge of supported contrib modules in the meantime, or do you see it differently?
Yes, I see it kind of extending a ramp for a little bit longer, right? I want to have that the year 2024, Drupal 7 is fully supported in all aspects, right? And with Drupal.org alone, we cannot guarantee that, right? Modules will be unsupported, so you're kind of on your own with them. And so that's my immediate goal for next year, that we kind of keep Drupal 7, keep up the promise that we do it until January 5th, 2025 at least. And then we will see, right? Me and my clients, we will also make decisions. Is it a good idea to keep going? What can we do? Can we do the upgrade? Is it economically viable? Yeah.
The word unofficial feels so important to me here for a number of reasons, but especially when Chris was just talking about explaining to clients what is this, how is this different, also with out of respect for the official Drupal security team, but I think it's so important to communicate from that sense what this is, and what it's trying to accomplish and what it's not trying to accomplish. I think that there's so much value that can be provided in what this proposal is trying to achieve, but it's not, it is not the same thing. It does not have the same um, sort of responsibilities that the official Drupal security team has placed upon themselves. But it also shows the flexibility of the open source community to say, there is a gap that could be filled here, and anyone, in this case, you, has stepped in to propose this to fill it, and that's kind of beautiful and wonderful. What are your thoughts on that unofficial word and what it means to the project here?
I think I haven't built it in as much maybe as I should right now into my communication and I've set up a wiki on GitLab where I put together a couple of pages, like what will be the security policy of this group, what will be the values of this group, kind of trying to get something going that people can agree on and work together. But I think it's a good idea to call it really unofficial, to say, hey, this is not something that will be endlessly supported in the forever time, but it is a stopgap to make maintaining Drupal 7 for the time being easier.
I think that like unofficial could kind of be looked at as like a slight, But here, I think it communicates something like a distinction that is very important and carries like a lot of baggage with it that's important to communicate. So
Yeah.
I definitely am. I applaud the mission and what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
With that in
I,
mind, Klaus, what would the ideal look like for you a month from now, 3 months from now? Are you hoping to garner a bunch of support from the community and see that list, the one that currently contains just the develop module, grow to 10 of the most frequently used Drupal 7 modules that are going to be unsupported or are already unsupported? Like, what would the next couple of months look like? I'm trying to get some action items out of you so that the community can rally around it and maybe join up and help.
oh, this is like a two-sided coin.
Hmm.
On the one side of the coin, I would like to keep the list of modules as small as possible, right? That
Hmm.
would mean we can still continue the normal processes on Drupal.org, keeping the Drupal 7 modules supported there. That's how you reach most of the Drupal 7 installations. People that care about updates, they look at that. So that's the one side. But of course, yeah, I wanna make this initiative a success. There could be the case that my clients will decide next year that they will stick long on Drupal 7, even beyond the official supported date in some form or another. And then I need to make a decision if I can support that um, and can provide that. And I'm sure I will find a way looking at, at this point right now. So then, of course, it would be good that we also use this year to establish the group, make the processes work so that we kind of can step into this unknown territory of the year 2025. We can talk a little bit about GitLab. I'm not super happy about it. So it's kind of the second choice after GitHub. I would have gone to GitHub, but it has its own problems. I think the spirit of open source is a little bit better at GitLab. You kind of can export all the issues. You can export the pull requests, the repositories. It's a much more open ecosystem than GitHub. But on the other hand, GitHub is a lot more polished. Like the GitHub action workflows, I like them a lot more. There's stuff that you cannot do as easily on GitLab CI as you can do on GitHub. But I got the module packaging working already. So kind of I replicated some part of the Drupal.org infrastructure there already. So I was satisfied with that. So I think we can do this.
And to make the distinction too, so currently this is not running on Drupal.org's GitLab, which is the Git repository where all the official Git repositories now live for Drupal.org projects. And soon Drupal.org issues will also live in that GitLab instance. This is on gitlab.com where anyone can sign up for an account. So as you know, github.com being an equivalent. So there you've set up a workspace, sort of an organization that where all of these in the future, these D7 forks essentially of these contrib modules, right, where they will continue to live on in, there on gitlab.com, right?
Exactly. So that's also a little bit the barrier of contribution because people need to sign up there. They cannot do it with a Drupal.org account. It's a completely separate thing.
Mm-hmm.
This was also very important for the core committers that they say, we don't want to increase our workload with your initiative. So you need to find your place where you can do everything independently so that you're not adding to the workload of the Drupal 10 maintainers, basically, which I completely get. That was also my intention. Is why I said we should take it offside of Drupal.org to kind of get along well.
And do you think that, I know that since these are all public projects, there's some amount of resources that GitLab.com provides for free. Do you foresee, being able to live within those resources, or is this a project that is going to need some financial support in the future to, keep those workflows running?
I don't think so for a long time. So the workflows are just for packaging and they are super quick. Of course, if you talk about automating, executing the automated tests that those Drupal 7 modules might have, then the resource usage will go up quite a bit. But one goal and one value that I didn't mention of this initiative is also to keep the modules stable and only do the very, very minimum on changes. So Drupal 7 has reached the kind of level of maturity where you don't want to introduce big breaking changes into Drupal 7 modules when you maintain them. So the changes need to be minimal. So I would also assume that we don't need to run tests as much as on Drupal.org in an actively developed module, for example.
So that's a great point. So modules that are then living in this workspace, are they, obviously you're going to be making, identifying and making security fixes to them. Are other types of fixes, other non-security fixes, other new features, are those eligible to be committed? Or are you saying, no, we are only addressing security issues?
I think it's hard to draw the line, but what we absolutely will need to do is PHP compatibility or also MySQL compatibility. For example, if there's some query badly written for some old MySQL version, then we need to update that. So these kind of critical bug fixes we will have to do. Yeah, but I want to keep it at that. I don't want to do big refactorings or introduce big features, even small features.
Right.
There must be a very good reason.
So you're going to attempt to draw the line, maybe not quite as strictly as just security fixes, but you would include compatibility fixes. But after that, it might be
Yeah.
a fuzzy line, but that's the line you're trying to draw.
Yes.
Where can people go if they want to help, and what can they do to help?
So they can go to gitlab.com/d7security, all together one word. Sign up a GitLab account and subscribe to an issue there, which is called newsletter. I think I called it announcement newsletter. So I'm kind of using the GitHub notification system also as a newsletter. So if you subscribe to this issue and enable notifications, you will get an email when I post a project update. For example, when I will hopefully publish this security issue of this module I'm working on with the security team soon, then I will make an announcement. Hey, our first security release is coming out. This is how it works. Yeah.
And we'll include links to those spots in the show notes of this episode.
Yeah, this is also what I have not figured out yet, what the best communication channels for this group will be. So I also created this channel in Slack called also D7 Security. So basically, I try to spread the branding D7 Security as everywhere. I think I will put it, whenever I put the written documentation, I think I need to put the word unofficial a little bit more often, as we discussed today. I think that's very good input from you. We'll take that into consideration.
Awesome. Klaus, thank you so much for joining us. This has been lovely and interesting. I hope that everyone checks out the Unofficial D7 security posts on GitLab. And if they see modules, if they have modules that they want to support, they can go there to begin the discussion about getting them re-supported as we move along this journey towards Drupal 7 end of life.
Thanks a lot. It was very nice talking to you.